and Militarised storms to the front from bases loaded. Don Corleone's running on, and further back to peer pressure, but Militarised is on, firing right up here on the English side, draws away for an emphatic victory.
Welcome to Bet Dr. Punters, a behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. This show is presented to you by Punting Form and TopSport. Make sure you check them out. DK, we're here. It's just you and me today. Everyone's sort of left us, PGA and the like, and championships up in Sydney. So we're just holding the fort down here in Melbourne. How you going?
As we do, mate, as we do. You know, down here for the beautiful weather that's coming over Easter, Nico. I mean, it's just going to be magnificent down here. It's going to be, I think, 19 and rain, and then 16 and rain Saturday. It's going to be Armageddon on Sunday, 14 or something. So, yeah, that's magnificent. But anyway, we'll battle on. But no, here we are, mate. Always holding up the fort, you and me. I don't know, it always comes down to you and me, but here we are.
Some consistent performers down here. Big weekend in racing last weekend, of course, with day one of the championships, and it's been a big week also as well. Racing Twitter's had a lot of action this week.
Plenty to talk about. That's what I said. I was up and about when I was doing the prep for the show. I said, geez, I'll be up and about today. It's plenty to talk about, so I'll let you lead the charge. You can sort of find the order, Nico, but yeah, a bit to talk about.
Well, I think there's a bit to talk about with these wet tracks and bias tracks. Of course, a lot of punters listen to this show and just saw you how to sort of handle that from a review point of view, DK. I know you're a big review man. We had a real sort of interesting situation at Randwick on Saturday where the rain came during the meeting, which is probably the worst thing. And then Bendigo, we also had a very biased track where it was very hard to win away from the inside lanes. So how would you treat those meetings going forward?
Well, the first thing, because the first thing you got to be able to put in a comment. So whatever data, Punting Form's got a comment section, whatever you use, you have to put in a comment. Overall rain, if the rain came at race 5 or rain before the races. So that's the first thing you do. What happened on the day was a deteriorating track, because it'll tell you in the times. You know, sometimes the last race might run 2 seconds slower than the first race. But why? But it's gone at a quicker speed. So you got the deteriorating tracks, and then each horse on its merits. You know, was it flattered by the bias? Leader advantage, flattered by the bias, back and wide, disadvantaged bias. So they're the first two things, but they're the main things. So as long as the comments and the horses, and then other people who put in bonuses and bonus lengths here and there, I don't worry about that. Again, a bit of paralysis by over-analysis for me. I try and keep it simple. And I keep it more simple now because this is another avenue. Like this, if you get a few years ago, this is one of the good avenues left. You know, all the edges are being eaten up, and working out the bias and an edge there, it was sort of one that's left. But, mate, everyone in the whole world, you know, knows about it now. I mean, Benalla Friday was completely biased. Or BZ did the meeting for .com. First thing he did, big tweet on Saturday. Anyone doing the review for Benalla, make sure you know the inside was off. Make sure you bonus outside horses. They'd tell the whole world, you know.
I had a chat to someone at Bendigo on Saturday about that Benalla track, and he's a man who walks a lot of country tracks. He said the inside was like a heavy 8 and the outside lanes were a good 4.
Yeah, there you go. That's how bad it was.
So the last 4 races, the 4 horses down the out, the widest horse in every race won.
Okay, so I don't review that meeting because I'm trying to find another and say, okay, so what horses wouldn't have won there, or were really, really advantaged or overachieved?
Yeah.
JKN was the best horse in that race anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wascally's gone enormous.
Huge first up.
You know, so then I go back and look at races. So which horses, like in the maidens, I focused really in the maidens, and then I say, well, maybe the Swashy's perfect versus Star Vega. The first starter elite Friends come down the middle, but I'm looking at that race again, and it's the stronger horse. I don't think it would have mattered.
Yeah,
you know. So I mean, you've got to go back and say you don't want to overplay it. You know. So which Bendigo Sunday, like if they get back and wide horses, 80% of bias tracks are an on-pace bias, right? On pace to the inside. You get that one track at Benalla, sometime Ararat, other tracks, Camperdown, it can rain, the inside goes off, but 80% the bias is to the front. All right, so if you're a get-back horse, you're generally a get-back horse anyway, aren't you? So next time you say, well, he got too far back on a forward-rail track, then next start, he's a get-back horse anyway. So, I mean, I just, I know. I try and really, really zero in on it. Like you saying, Bendigo Saturday was biased, okay, but then what horses were really disadvantaged? Like that, your horse would have won anyway. The thing that won Staymade, and it pushed, you said the other horse would have a flat spot, which it did, pushed it out of the way. Like a lot of those horses would have won anyway. Foxy Frida was the big one. Like it's overcome it. So,
yep. Looking back to last week, of course, we found Kabosh, little trumpet there.
Fine, but you read that perfect.
He got the PR, didn't he? Got the perfect run.
Well, he drew barrier 3.
Yep.
So that's all right. But he pushed the other way. He pushed the favourite out of the way because the favourite's got a flat spot. So I mean, you said he had. That's why you read the race.
Yeah, and he was I thought he'd be a bit stronger in the betting late. I think the market took a long time to sort of work out that track. A lot of the inside draws weren't getting as factored in as much early in the card. So I sort of thought with that Bendigo track, looking at the early races, there was a lot of horses that were on the fence overachieving relative to their SP. So I thought that was a big early edge, especially a horse like Floating Artist. Saw him in the mounting yard. Like, he returned great, but he sort of zipped up the fence and looked huge first up in a 1400 metre race. I thought, oh, something might be on here. And obviously Bendigo railed true, Geelong railed true.
Bendigo railed true. You want to be saving ground on the circle anyway, don't you?
Yeah. So
then they can generally run on in the straight. But
Ballarat yesterday as well, like, these big tracks, and they put him rail true, and all of a sudden you can't make any ground off the fence. So it's.
I tell you do the form with the first 4 spots still being the best 4 spots and you do your form, you won't miss very often, and more often than not, you'll get the edge, an extra edge from that on-pace advantage.
So, Kibosh got the job done, and Scooty found militarised, sent it out as a 0.5 unit.
Yeah, he said on the show, he said he found it on the show for giving it in the slipper, and that one that was going to bounce off the slipper and rebound.
So it's absolutely
pissed in, dude,
bolted in, hasn't it? So I think he said it was a bet on the Little Birdie Syndicate there, half a unit at 30.
Give me some cash to play with over in Augusta.
Yeah, good result there. So hopefully the boys are living it up over there at Augusta. And then the Blue Jackets. So there was a bit of commentary around the Blue Jackets on the wet tracks. Pericles flopped, Cylinders flopped. This Saturday as well, Animo, Zapateo, they got a big hand in the quaddie. Going to be interesting to see how they handle the track this Saturday, because, looking at sort of, thinking back to a lot of their good horses, you can't think of too many that are real dynamic in the wet, the Godolphin horses. They obviously have a few that are outliers, but I think the younger horses are definitely. You're
the oracle on the Godolphin horses. I'm happy to defer to you. But,
well, they've obviously had a few.
It's when you get. I mean, we might discuss the Queen Elizabeth later, but I'm happy to take a position there. Maybe contrary to what you Godolphin guys you Godolphin groupies think. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
As a Godolphin groupie, I reckon they're not as advantaged on the wet as they are the dry.
That's good. So that's news to me. That's good news from where the angle one coming from.
We've probably taken a little while to get into the juiciest part of the week's happening, haven't we, DK, up there in Canberra?
We certainly have. Yes, the Senate inquiry into the game of gambling and things like that. So it was very interesting because Richie. Everyone's been all over it and making everyone aware of it and doing a great job as he does. So I watched a bit of it and looked at all Richie's grabs and things like that. So the chair, that Peter Murphy, she was very well versed. She's obviously got a neighbour or a friend who had dinner with her and sat her down over lunch and said, I'm a Promo Arbor and I'm getting barred. So I had an issue with her kicking up for the Promo Arbors. I thought that muddied the waters a bit from the real issues. And I think Barney and everyone was shocked as well. So what the hell is she doing kicking up for Promo Arbor charges? I think it took them by surprise. And they didn't have answers for it. They had their answers. They were just going to roll out. And then she's going and said, I would have said, is she serious? Is that the angle she's taking, kicking up for Promo Arbors? And promo abusers? Like, seriously? So I thought that muddied the waters from the real issues, And that again, the responses that Barney and the other guys gave, I think were a bit ill-judged or not ready for that answer. So, that insider information rubbish they were going on about, trying to justify it. But I don't know, what was your take, Nico?
Yeah, I thought the promo chat was interesting for sure. I think a lot of what I see sort of from a younger sort of demographic, a lot of them are interested in that because there's easy money to be made. So I think maybe there was some influence from that, from sort of, TikTok and Instagram and all that. You see a lot of that sort of stuff on there. So maybe she was sort of influenced by that. But I would say in the grand scheme of things, they've got 85 bookmakers to sort of try and get a coin out of it, don't they? So I would have thought that was a bit overplayed with you. But no, it was definitely, I watched some of it, probably watched for an hour and a half, which I never thought I'd be one to sort of sit down and watch something out of Parliament. But it was definitely interesting listening a lot of the stuff that the corporates were saying, and then the representative from Rawa, and that was a very interesting sort of discussion. So I'm probably not as well versed in it all as you are, DK, given how long you've been in the game. But I would have thought it sounded semi-positive for punters.
Well, it was good. She's very well. That was the good thing, having a politician very well versed on the subject matter, and happy to go with it and not let corporates give their spin and want straight answers.
Yeah.
So I like that, but I did think she played that one angle a bit too hard for mine. But obviously that's what she'd sat down. She hadn't sat down with Richie Irvine. She'd sat down with this person who was a promo abuser who's been barred. So, which I don't have any problem. And the best thing for me would be promotions. Those things should just be done. Full stop. And I think that's what they might angle to, because even Gil McLaughlin said it's the inducements. It's the inducements that's the issue. Just give them the best thing that again, back to the old bookmaking days, you wanted to look after someone, you give them 2 rolls of the board. Yeah, it's 7-1, give them 10-1. So you got your odds boost, got your price boost or whatever everyone else calls it. Give him that. You roll the board, always feels you good. Oh, I got $8, now I can get $10. That's the best feeling. Instead of all these people, $50 here, $20 here. You know, you speak to new bookies and they say all the new 20-year-olds, all the people all worried about their bonus bets. Oh, give me bonus bets. I've lost my money. What bonus bets do I get? Or what deposit match do I get? You know, and now they're all trained. It's just ridiculous, you know. But no, it was good. It's good. It's good at especially for the sports people. Like we're lucky. We've had minimum bet laws, which we've had Richard Irvine, but the sports people, the fact that they can't get a bet on. I know he's pushing big for this national betting obligation, which is overseen by the federal government and things like that. So it's, you know, for the fact that someone can't have $500 on a $1.80 line in a football match is just outrageous, you know, just outrageous. So the bookmaker can't cop a $400 liability on one side of a sports AFL match. I mean, you know, they'll bet you $1 and turn the price off. You know, it's outrageous. So I can really see the sports people getting passionate about it. In racing,
considering how much mug money would be in those AFL markets as well, like how much would they be making out of them? Like I would assume that's a lot more of a profitable marketplace for them than say betting on racing, where you've got a lot of sharper players in the market. I would have thought.
Well, I think it turned a profit with the same game multis and things like that.
Yeah, because
the racing was always their big product. You know, it was their main product, and that now the taxes have brought that right down. Then they've started up the same game multis, and you know, as we know, multis are the biggest fill up for all those racing multis. Sports get them multiing; they're the biggest margin products. So, no, it was interesting stuff. But we'll see. Interesting to see what comes of it. But I said I bet with a lot of bookies. I haven't been actually close. I've had some, and I haven't had to fill in a one of those. I know a lot of people, Richard, argues about some people when they don't want their business, they'll say fill in the stat decks and give us all your banking details. And I bet with 20 or 30 bookies, I've never had that happen. I know there's a group of 10 or 15 who are prone to ordinary behaviour, but I think for the most,
but they're getting called out, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now with the big sort of contingent of punters on Twitter, like you see that behaviour from one bookie, and someone puts it out and it gets 200 likes, so you're probably going to see it.
Yeah.
So they're getting called out, those ones, and you probably know the ones to avoid by now, really.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But that was as I said, it was very positive to see a politician well versed in the punting issues. It was about promo.
There was a few laughs to be had there during the little hearing, wasn't there? But if you want to get more laughs, head to the Comics Lounge, Melbourne's home of comedy in Errol Street, North Melbourne. There, DK. Private functions available, and the Melbourne Comedy Festival just around the corner. You're seeing a lot of flyers.
I'm going tonight. They go. Yeah, the missus got the missus got the tickets. So, and so in the city, the comedy theatre or somewhere in the city. So yeah, get around comedy and having a go. It's a good night out. I think the last one I went to a couple of good ones. I went and saw Melbourne Town Hall and some ripping guys in the past years.
So what's the play early for you? What you said last week, bit of straight face early.
I was joking. I was joshing because I was at a big comedy show and the bloke was doing that in the front row, and the comic saw him straight away and said, "Mate, what's your problem?" He said, "You're sitting there like it's make me laugh." Sort of. I'd use that. I amped it up a bit last week. No, I like. Come on, I want to laugh, but I'm not an easy. I won't laugh at anything. Got to earn your laugh.
All right, so
it's got to be funny.
Get down there. You might even see DK. He might even sort of frequent it now if he gets up and about tonight.
We'll see.
So head down to the Comics Lounge. Today's show, we're a bit in all sorts here, but we're going to battle through. Is Donnie's good? He's on the show today. Donnie's best. No good last week, but hopefully he can bounce back this week. Maybe he's got to stay in his lane a bit more. Just stick up there in Queensland. He had that big roughie.
Yeah, was a quaddie. I was one to try on the quaddies.
To be fair, I did hear a lot of people tipping it. He wasn't on his lonesome. I heard Lambourne sort of giving it a good push and a few others. So there was some good judges on. Maybe just didn't quite run up to the expectation there. Walt's going to tune in. He's got a nice little 2 or 3 minute video there for us, previewing the Percy Sykes and a few other of his thoughts there on Saturday. He survived Detroit, so he's made it through that, and he's off to play some golf. So we'll get the thoughts of him. And then my brother, Trav, he's going to join us as well. He's going to have a look at the Discovery, Good Friday from Geelong. Meeting there. And plus a look at the Queen Elizabeth and the ATC.
Oh, good. We're looking at the Queen Elizabeth, are we? Because I think I've got an angle there. I think.
Okay.
I think you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, so. I think I do. So
I reckon this might be a good thing in there, Queen Elizabeth, actually. But anyway. We'll get to that.
I did ask you to preview a race, and I said maybe a maiden somewhere in DK. You came straight back saying you wanted to preview the Queen Elizabeth, and you fell for the chair.
Yeah, no, beautiful. Just been waiting for something to knock off Animo, and here we go. Anyway, we'll get to that.
There's a few big bets in the TopSport team as well. They didn't hit last week. V8, In Secret, and Zoo Gotcha all got beat, but they were taking some sizable bets early on a few of those horses, and they've done the same again this week. So Cascadian features there, one of the blue jackets, so it'll be interesting to see where the rest of the early money with TopSport is going. And if you want to get around them, family owned and operated TopSport, get their new app and mobile site, complete reskin of the app. So it's looking absolutely grouse. Same race multi, same game multis, footy, AFL, sports, the lot. You can just get absolutely around TopSport. It's going to be a massive weekend of sport and a massive weekend of racing. So make sure you have a look at them and give them a go.
You're going to get into Sandown, are you, Nico?
We'll keep the show rolling. Sandown here, DK.
Right, so we're going to Sandown. What are you thinking weather-wise out there? So I think
I thought
it's going to be soft track.
Rain's going to come, and we're going to be dealing with a heavy track, I think.
Heavy track. There you go, heavy track, boss.
I've found some... If the rain doesn't come, these horses probably don't have as big a chance, but I'm thinking the rain's coming. We're going to back in the bomb, hopefully to get it right. And I think these horses are going to be suited on the wet track. So we'll have the first look at race number 4.
What are we looking at? Race 4?
1400 metre BM 70.
Bert Bryan, to see all these, all the races are named after old legends. I think there's a Bill Collins and there's a few other races there, but great people in the racing. So where are we kicking off here, Nico? The favourite. Where is it here? What are we, 5?
We're about $6 the field.
$6 the field. Geez, you're versatile. $6 the field down a star with $7.50 general firepower, $8 Sandy Prince, $8.50 Volton, $11 Rumbled again, $9 right down the bottom there, Our Lone Star. I missed any there. Good and Proper's another $11 chance as well, and then out to right out in the market here. Now I think you're zeroing in on Volton here. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to have a look at Volton's last replay. Here he is, widest runner in the yellow blinkers and yellow colours there. This was a very good wet track. I don't know if you can remember his maiden.
I do. I do. He won by 10 lengths.
He won by about 10 on the 7. Then he went to Mornington on a 10 and absolutely killed him again there. This was a good result for us. Rule and Ferretti out in front. And here I was getting a bit worried that Volton and a few others are going to run him down. But we held on. But I think this is a really good form race. This was a benchmark 78. Now he comes back to a bit of a weaker class of race here. He drew wide there on that occasion. Jai McNeil rode him and he went back. I think from an inside draw, he can definitely position up in a good spot here. And you look back sort of through his form, he's a horse that can settle on top of the speed. So I thought with the wet track in his favour, coming out of a good run race last start, looks like a good platform for this run. Sort of 15, 16 days between runs out of the fast run race. I think he'll be... cherry ripe for Saturday. So I thought around $8.50 with TopSport. He looked pretty attractive at that price, especially if the rain comes. So each way he probably won't miss, but I think he's an attractive price today.
So when he because he looked like anything that day when he won his maiden by 10. So he's a proper horse, and then he's been okay, but he's never really kicked off that. He sort of was around the mark, and then he's come back this prep and just looking at his figures, he's put in 2 real good figures. So Kenny Keys might finally have him right, you know. And I think Saturday's the day. Well, I'd say if you're going to kick off those 2 figures third up, and he's got the good draw. Was he going from gate 14 to gate a low draw, isn't he?
Yeah, low draw, yeah.
Yeah, that's always a big positive, that sort of thing. So anyway, all right, good. Volton each way. And what's the next one, Nico? Race 7?
Race 7, Victoria Handicap. We've got the Easter Cup also on this day, so there's some good races, but I thought this was another race with a bit of value.
All right, we got Clemenceau, $4.40. We've got Cardinal Gem, $5. Ayrton, $6. Buffalo River, $6.50. Out to Lady of Honour, $11. Not an option, $12. And Frankie Pino, Frankie Pino's right there at $18. And he's good. He's one of mine, Nico, and I think you found him as well here.
Yep, Frankie. His last start replay is a bit hard to watch because the fall, so there kind of wasn't enough of it. This is his last real exposure to wet ground, DK.
Proper wet ground and Warrnambool on the Warrnambool heavy.
A bit of PTSD, isn't it, this week? But it was an absolute slog this day, and he just relishes these conditions. He's another horse that's very good in the wet ground. He looks set to peak here. Gets out to 1,400 metres. To start after this race, he ran 4th in the Goodwood and then went up to Sydney in race well. He's just a super consistent horse. He's going to be back in the field, which is probably the worry on this lakeside track. But there's good speed in this race, so if they overdo it up front, that probably will give his chance to run on. And I think his advantage will be this real wet track, which a few of these are probably a bit of a question mark in. But the favourite Clemenceau is probably a bit of a question mark at 1,400 metres.
Definite question mark at 1,400.
All his forms at 1,100, 1,200.
You're right. You can put holes in them if you're in the early. Ayrton, what about Ayrton there? What's it with him?
Jury out.
Jury out. He's been Ayrton, is he? You know?
Yeah, I'd like, he's...
Pinstripe? Jury out?
Pinstripe's jury. I think Pinstripe looks set to peak from a yard point of view. I think he's come back with a lot of condition on him this preparation. So I think third, I sort of said this to a lot of my subs sort of first up out of that run. I said I think he's set to peak sort of 3rd or 4th up. So look, he's wearing thin. Cardinal Gem's going to put himself in the race, but I just thought he was very well found at $5. Like Frankie Pino could be a better horse, and he's his 20s. So
look, he's always been one of mine, Frankie, because he was a line. He showed earlier he's a real line finder, right? So he's done all that, the Wongoom, the Goodwood. And first up this prep, McAvoy said, we'll do something. We'll put the blinkers on him. And he's charged home there, like first up. And he always runs well and he probably goes better second up. Like I said, fourth in the Goodwood last time. So, I just thought that blinkers might turn him into an even better horse than what he was. So he's got the chance to elevate, So I think,
it's just what you love to see, isn't he? Because he just finds the line. Every single start he has, he just finds the line.
He's always there running on, always. So, no, what is he, 20 to 1 or something? So,
it can be a good sign of a horse who's going to make the grade, isn't it? Like that big closing speed. Like you see a lot of those horses that can rattle off, sort of coming home 10 above their last 600 on punting form or those things. They generally measure up a Metro Go. You don't see a lot of horses that can run those figures sort of, relative to class in the bush or sort of on the midweeks and not measure up in at least sort of listed or open class company, which is what he probably is. So. Two there at a bit of odds, so hopefully we can get a result out of them.
Yeah, wet track. That's the angle. A lot of the time, that's the angle on a wet track, isn't it? Try and find a bit of value. Don't get too heavily invested in, particularly early. We don't know what the conditions are going to be, but a bit of value.
I'm going away for this weekend, so there'll be no Mounting Yard mail, but we'll be back and firing for a big end of the April and end of May. So if you want to get involved there, head to littlebirdie.live and get yourself a sub for the coming up months because it's going to be absolutely huge. And make sure you check out Punting Form. We're just talking about their data there. Frankie Pino, he's always been one to watch from a data point of view, those big closes. So it's another brand and app that's had a big sort of refurbishment, hasn't it? The new Punting Form. So I'm still an old Punting Form man. I haven't sort of made the convert yet, but
it's hard to when you say set in your ways, isn't it?
But there's definitely nothing wrong with new Punting Form, and if you're looking to get into the game, it helps you out. I know a lot of people who have sort of subbed in the last sort of year or so, and it takes your analysis and your betting to the next level. Whatever you want to sort of do in racing, if you want to really use it from an analysis point of view, it helps you understand race shapes. And I think that the biggest thing I find with Punting Form sometimes it can help you understand the market. You can look at sort of the racing.com sectionals and all those kind of things, but when you see that this horse out of a very fast run race, say a horse like Volton, I think he'll be well back because he's out of a fast run race. He's got a good draw. He's got heavy track form. You can just sort of line all those things up.
The stuff the models like, tick, tick, tick on the models.
So the more you can sort of dive into that, I would say that's probably where the huge edge is in Punting Form, identifying horses in the early market that could be found late by the big models. So it's a big help.
Very good, very good. Now we're probably going to roll on. I think we've got a big meeting Good Friday. Good Friday, we always have a big meeting now. Unfortunately, the weather's going to be no good, but it's at Geelong this year. It was at Sale last year. I think they're rotating it around and I think we're going to get Trav in to. He's going to have a look at it for us, isn't he?
So we'll just take a quick minute to compose ourselves, DK. We got a big end to the show coming up, so we'll just take a little break here. We'll come back with Walt and Trav, have a look at the big features across the weekend. All right, punters, time to look at the biggest day of the year here, day 2 of the championships. Unfortunately, Walt, DK's ditched us. It's the biggest day of racing in Sydney. He doesn't even want to do a preview for us, but he's
true to form. Oh, he loves a preview. I won't say he loves a preview. You get on these racing watch videos and they go for 27 minutes on one race or something, but he does love a preview, but he's probably got other things on his plate at the moment over there, Nico, like a round of golf or wherever they're doing. Or
Yep, so tune into racingwatch.com.au if you want our Walt's analysis. He's absolutely crazy, and you're crazy if you don't check it out because Telegram and Discord, it's the way to go. And if you like tune into a long preview, he's very, as much as on this show, he might not represent it. He's very smart, Walt.
He's a clever dick.
I've always thought that even before I knew him, I was watching his previews because even Travman can attest to this. He's about to join us soon. That he definitely knows a lot about the game and especially race shapes and tape watching, those kind of things. So let's hear from him. What's he got to say for day 2 of the championships?
G'day guys, coming to you from Augusta, Georgia this week. Certainly very excited to go my first look at Augusta National in the flesh tomorrow, but more pressing matters at hand right now, and that's the that extra round of the championships this week. So we've got the Australian Oaks, Sydney Cup, Queen Elizabeth Stakes, Coolmore Legacy, no highways, no midways, which is always great, but that doesn't make it a simple task. I thought the best 2 races on the program, I'll start with the Percy Sykes because I think Autumn Ballet is probably the hardest horse to beat on the program. Really talented filly, really dominant down in Canberra, was given a great ride there in the Black Opal. Clearly set for this race since, just given a little break and a trial in between. The trial sort of just was taken back after sort of not being able to get right across them early and then allowed to work to the line. I think they'll take this race by the scruff of the neck here and try and lead it from gate 1. Gate 1's probably not ideal, but I think in this case there's not a lot of speed in the race, and I expect this horse to just roll forward. She looks super strong. I think she'll be very hard to beat here. Main dangers in Komochi, who was really good first up when given a great ride, and things went its way. Certainly got a tempo and everything to suit. And Lazago is certainly a horse that can improve after being knocked over in the slipper, and a complete forgive, just whether it's come through that run okay, and probably where it gets to from the gate are little queries, but middle gate should be okay on Saturday at Randwick. I wouldn't imagine that it'll dry right out and be, sort of a mad lead advice or anything like that. Percy Sykes, main play, Autumn Ballet, and South Pacific Stakes. Thought there was a two-horse play here in Atmosphere and Hawaii 5-0, both coming out of the same race. Thought Atmosphere was a little bit poorly ridden, not given its chance there, and can improve. I think $13 for it's well and truly a decent price after being a forgive first up, as I said. And I think, with the well-weighted here, drops significantly in weight, 8 kilos, can improve for sure. And Hawaii 5-0 had every chance in that race, but I think it can improve physically, and the middle draw looks perfect for it. The drier, the better for it. So they're the two races for me, and good luck on Saturday. We'll certainly need a bit of it, but there should be some good value around if you can find a winner or two. Cheers, guys.
Right, no shock there. Walt tipping Waterhouse Spot and Timmy Clark there in the Percy Sykes. Autumn Ballet around $3 with TopSport. Same race before, Timmy Clark in Waterhouse Spot with Hawaii 5-0, but he's bought a blue jacket as well, DK. He's converting.
Yes, he's joined the strength.
Atmosphere.
You say, Nico.
So, yep, check out Walt's racingwatch.com.au if you want more of his action. Now we're going to get stuck right into the big stuff. Queen Elizabeth, ATC Oaks are the two Group 1s we're going to have a look at, and then we're going to have a quick look at the Discovery as well. We'll just welcome in Trav before we get too far into the conversation here. Trav, man, what's happening?
Not too much, Nico. Good to be back on Little Birdie, making, I think, my 2023 debut. So looking forward to the weekend ahead with the huge Easter weekend. And I've heard a little bit of confidence from DK around this Queen Elizabeth. You've come in strong in the group chat there, DK.
Yes, I thought I might just throw a little spark in there to get this going for the show, Trav, because I'm pretty sure I know where you'll be coming from there. So, but anyway, we'll get to that.
Just before we right into the action, what do you make of the track for Saturday's racing?
Yeah, it's a hard one. They're sort of predicting not too much rain on Friday or Saturday at Randwick, and it's a sort of dry day on Saturday at Randwick, sort of top of 26 degrees. No rain forecast at the moment during the meeting, so you'd hope it's sort of on that sort of maybe soft 7 side, and definitely isn't as wet as last week where we had that rain through the meeting, which is when a lot of the problems can occur on these Sydney tracks, is when you get rain through the meeting. So hopefully it's sort of, is a much better surface to bet on this Saturday. But as we know with the Sydney weather, you just can't trust the weather stations, DK, because they can get it pretty wrong with the Sydney weather.
Yeah, no, they certainly can. Like, they're not alone up there either. The bomb down here just misses just quite as often. So, but anyway, what about? There was got pretty testing, and things got beaten 100 yards in there last week. How testing it was. So it would have, the recovery powers of the track would be put to the test. But there was 26 up there yesterday or something, wasn't it? So they've had at least some nice weather leading in.
Yeah,
some drying conditions hopefully for Randwick on Saturday. There's a little bit of rain predicted on the day, but 3:55 unmissable here. Queen Elizabeth, that's when it's going to jump. So make sure you're tuning in, punters, just before the Blues kick off. We're there at 4:20, so it's going to be a big Good Friday, big Saturday of big Good Friday and a big Saturday as well. So Queen Elizabeth, Dubai Honour is our favourite, 250 into 230 early with TopSport, 260 Animo, 15 into 10 for Cascadian. Unicorn Lion 10, the Japanese runner, Montefilia 18, Mwanga 26, 41 Alan Kerr, 41 Numerain, and 41 Zadric Longer the rest. We're going to have a look at both the replays of Animo and Dubai Honour here. Animo first off. Trav, will let you talk through the replays while DK just reads through the bunch of notes he's got there. So take it away, T-Dogs.
Yeah, I think this is what we've come to expect from Animo, isn't he? Just gets the job done. He was 3 wide the trip, was run at sort of an even tempo. A couple of horses behind him, probably flattered by the race shape. He toughed it out well, to get his head in front. Certainly won't go down as his best win in his career, but the way he sort of did it was, definitely admirable, considering the sort of things he had to overcome in the run.
And here's Dubai Honour, just a massacre job here in the Randwick.
Yeah, well, this race was run at quite a slow speed, turned into a sprint home, and he annihilated them. Mwanga Montefilia, who had been chasing Animo on the Chipping Norton, they're a long way behind him here, Dubai Honour. Lots of ratings. Service providers have rated this up as one of the best international performances on Australian ground. So if you think like Lise Grouchot on the Cox Plate, he rated higher than that. So, it was an outstanding performance. What I will say to sort of counter that, it wasn't run at a true race. Like they walked through the first 1,400 metres and then turned it into a dash, probably even from less than the 600, probably from that 500 metre range as they came round on the turn. And he was just way too quick for them. He came out here with pretty strong ratings in 2021, going back and looking through some of the international data you can find for free around the place, so sort of like Racing Post ratings and time form. He had some very, very strong stuff in 2021, and he dropped off in 2022, and the stable was pretty open about that he was nowhere near his best last campaign. And he seemed to have come back to Australia at his absolute best, DK.
And I think the key for me is that he's best and then with more to come. I think that's the key here. I think we know Animo's appears to me to have plateaued out. Okay, he's what he is. Now he's a very good horse, in my opinion. I mean, some people want to say champion. I say he's a very good horse, but not an all-time great. But he seems to have plateaued out. This horse, and again, that's what I love, horses coming off the slow pace, because they can just go get a stronger tempo, or faster early. They can elevate off that. So he just looks to me primed to elevate off what he's done and off his peak figure. I don't think he has peaked. So I think that's the key for me here, and I think I'm very keen on Dubai Honour. What do you think?
I've sort of gone the other way. I think he has to come down from that personally, second up in Australia.
How come down? What if you see he only reeled off those sections because he went so slow early?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the internationals just perform so well first up, and then they can sort of come off that a little bit second up. I don't know. He's not going through his form profile overseas. He's not a horse that necessarily backs up a lot of his performances. He sort of has one of these big runs and then he comes off it a little bit. It
was a barrier trial. In all lessons, it was a barrier trial. It was a 2,000 metre barrier trial for him. Like, it couldn't have knocked him around. Like you say, the ratings guys pump it up. Well, they bonus it on their own opinion. They add because they add the sections by margins and things like that to pump it up. But
the margins, the big thing for them, isn't it? Like, he's absolutely trounced them, and it's an easy line to take with Montefilia and Animo that, by how far he's beaten her, I should say, that you can definitely get a feeling that he's going to be he can beat Animo here, and the markets tell you that. I think he will jump favourite from a market perspective. I think he'll probably start about 230, and I reckon you'll get $3 Animo maybe on the day. I will say with Animo though, his best ratings have all come at 2,000 metres, so he does elevate when he goes from 1,600 to 2,000, and sort of on the stuff that I use, his best would only be a length off Dubai's on, Dubai Honour in the Randwick. So we're going to see a very, very good contest. I think the map's important. I think J-Mac will want to be in front of Dubai Honour and try and get Dubai Honour to chase him rather than the other way around. And I think Mark 1 will probably tag J-Mac into the race. There seems really strong speed in the event with Unicorn Line, the Japanese galloper. He's a fierce going horse. So he's led, I think, at 4 of his last 6 starts.
That's what we want. We want a proper race, don't you? You say, I'm going down to this. If Animo can pull this off, then I might sort of side say,
I'll buy you a cap if he pulls it off.
I was going to say, we're going to talk side bets, Let's see if they're going to be 6-4 each or 2 or something, so it might be perfect side bet. You're not a red wine drinker, you blokes, though, so no. I don't know what we can have. Anyway, have a think about it.
I'm not necessarily in the camp of either completely. I think as much as one of them is probably going to win the race, I think there's a potential for something out of sort of left field here to run a real career peak, considering the way the race is going to shape up. I've got a sneaky sort of thought that El Patroness is just going to jump out of the ground here on wet track. I thought the $8 the place is the way to play this race. I thought she was desperately unlucky in the Australian Cup, went for the run that Cascadian was looking for and sort of got chopped out of it. Run first up was good, set to peak third up, and her best figures have all come on wet ground. So And if this race is run at a very fast speed, which I'm sort of expecting with Unicorn Lion and Numerayan, you want to maybe find a horse who's going to be strong at the end of 2,000 metres, and she's a winner at 2,400. So,
And I think that's why there's some money for Cascadian too. I mean, these fast races down here, the All-Star Mile and the Australian Cup, all tied in to the Doncaster, didn't it?
yeah.
So all that forms, it's all good form out of the fast races where Animo and the Dubai are coming out of slow pace races. So there is an angle there, if this is going to be a test.
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm not necessarily suggesting that she could beat either of them on
No.
the class. She's got to find a long way, but something's got to run third here, DK. I think the other horse that maybe is missed in the market a little bit because he went so terribly first up is Alan Kerr. We saw My Oberon sort of come out of the All-Star Mile with a huge flop and then return to form in the Doncaster on wet ground. This horse's form in Europe, he's beaten State Abreast, so there's an easy tie in there with Animo. So he goes around at sort of $40 to $1. You get Marira and potentially a wet track. I've seen worse sort of, again, each way bets than him.
All right, thought we were going to have to get you two in the ring there. A bit of boxing gloves action.
He backed off, I think, into Trav after he heard my case. Because I thought it said on the run sheet, Animo. I thought it said Trav Noonan, Queen Elizabeth, Animo. Is that what it said? Did it?
What? Might well have.
Or was it just a video? You'll look at it.
Yeah. So
I would lead, if I'm tipping on top, and if someone's telling me I need a bet in the race, I'm backing Animo to beat Dubai Honor, because I think, but I don't think the margin will be very big. I think we're in for a great race on Saturday. I'm hoping that Queen Elizabeth sort of lives up to it. The last couple of years, DK, we've had the big build up and it sort of felt flat a little bit. So,
and this is his last. I know he's going to Ascot, but then he's done. Is he coming back here, or is he done?
Sounds like
he's going to start after that.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is his swan song, Animo.
Yeah. Australian
up
swan
against
song.
the great William Haggis. So good stuff.
good test for him. Yeah, it's going to be an outstanding race, isn't it? So make sure you tune in, punters. And, what team are you on, Animo or Dubai on? I mean, it's 2-1 here. Me and Trav have definitely both team Animo, but...
you are attached, though. You're married to him.
Exactly.
Because, you're back with the Blue Diamond days, isn't it? Goes back to, doesn't it? So, you are married to him, but you've got to stick fat, that's it.
Yep, so...
but I was tipping Albogadon to beat him in the Cox Plate. This horse is a bit horse in Albogadon, so look what happened. So that's what's turned out as well.
He did kill it in the Randwick, albeit I think Albogadon's lost a leg since the spring. He's in reverse this campaign, but you could take that form tie in if you really want to play that way and get a bit cheeky with it. But great race, and hopefully we see a great race there on Saturday, fast pace, and hopefully brings out the best horses. We'll go back a little bit. We'll have a look at the ATC Oaks. This is one of the feature events on the day as well. Race number 6. Current favourite with TopSport is Pavitra, $3.20 in from $3.50. Fireburn, the Golden Slipper winner. That's her last win, except she won the Sires, so it's going back to this time last
That's
year.
over a mile and a half.
11 into $6, DK.
Jeez.
Penny Wecker's been on the drift, the New Zealand filly, out to $6.50. Arts has been $8.50 into $6.50. $10 Pierre Rosa. Polygon's on the drift, 8 out to 13. Sole Choice, the leader, 51 into 15. It's the big mover. So TC, Gaybot, Walt's already tipping him to win 2 races. So they're going for the treble here if Walt's correct. And she's been the big mover in the market, 51 into 15. We'll take a look at the replay here. I'm pretty sure we've got the binary up here. Yep. So we've got a few key runners in here. Sole Choice leading, Pavitra second. Pierressa coming down the outside in the red. So Dazzling in the So You Think colours down the outside. Polygon there in the Probabile colours. So a lead up here for the big one.
Yeah, well, you wanted to highlight this race, Nico. You like the work of the horse in the Dado Tan Chin Nam colours. Of course, the colours made famous by Saintly and So You Think. They're So Dazzling getting through the line. You've given this a huge chance at odds.
Well, yeah, I've already talked to Trav for 3 hours about these races last night on the Patreon and the racing show. So, I'm giving it a big chance.
You want to stay her, don't you? It looks like a proper stayer.
Looks like she'll just go all day, doesn't she? So I thought she'd just get back down the outside there like she did there. Huge jockey change with Joe Marira going aboard for Tom.
Punching around at Hawkesbury or something yesterday, wasn't he? I heard.
Yeah, so he's airborne or Joe, and I think this is a good setup for her. Gets to the wide lanes on the track, which could be really in play by this time of the day. Looks to stay. I started $5 in the Wakeful, which Pavitra was in. She was early favourite for the Victorian Oaks for a lot of last year. She's won on the wet track. She won one day at Flemington on a heavy 10. Big jockey change. Looks to stay. Yeah, I thought she's a terrific chance at $34. I think she's going to way outperform her SP, and I think she's going to be right in the finish. So, yep, I'm having a crack there each way. So maybe that's why I wanted to preview this race, just to get myself involved. But I think it is an intriguing race because you've got the two different lead-ups. You've got the Vinery and then the Knox. Art's coming out of the Knox, and then a lot of these others sort of out of the Vinery. So she looks like a bit of the DF, and you get the Kiwi filly thrown in there as well, who won the New Zealand Oaks last start. What do you make, T-Dogs?
Yeah, I wanted to be against the Vinery. I can understand the case you're kicking up for with your horse because she's going to be one of the better horses suited to 2,400 metres, and she was sort of out the back there in the Vinery, which was slowly run and didn't really get a chance to sort of have her say in the race. So I think Pavitra is a real query on wet ground. I think she's way too tight in the market. I thought she's probably the filly that was best suited in those 1,600 to 2,000 metre races, and that I think up to 2,400, there's a few fillies behind her better suited. I really don't like this DK. It was a slowly run race last start, and Pavitra's come home the 11th quickest last 200 of the race with one of the best runs in transit. It's never a good sign for a horse going up in distance. I know you could say, she ran the 2,500. Well, the Oaks last year was running at absolutely farcical tempo, and there wasn't exactly a staying test. So I don't think you can say that she runs 2,400 metres, and now she's got to do it on wet ground. So she's the horse I'm completely against. She wins, I'll be losing. The horse I'm definitely most interested in is Arts on the quick backup. I love the Adrian Ox into the Oaks. It's been a really good profile in recent years. You think going back a couple of years ago, Colette won the Adrian Ox and then won the Oaks. Duay won the Adrian Ox and then ran a really good race in the Oaks behind Hungry Heart. So this filly, of course, sort of reminds you a little bit of Duay, given the stable trained by Edward Cummings, gets Hugh Bowman on. I did a little bit of stats around Hugh. There's a lot of sort of talk that he's one of the best staying riders in the country. In Group 1s for the last 10 years, DK, over 2,400 metres plus, he goes at 33% in Group 1s over 2,400 metres plus.
One in three.
It's just incredible. He's at like 50% profit on turnover in those races. Now, that takes in obviously a lot of sort of data, and there's not that many of those races per year. So, but I thought that's as good a jockey change as you need to get in staying races. Bowman on for the grand final at 2,400 metres, and I thought she was awesome last week. I know they walked in the Adrian Ox through the first sort of 1,400, but her turn of foot on wet ground was electric. 10th quickest last 200 of the day, on a day where the TJ Smith and races like that are run. That's some good going. You love the backup.
You got me on the backup. I haven't done the race, but you've got as soon as you said backup, back up onto a wet deck.
Off the slow tempo too, just nice sit and sprint.
Yeah, just the backup. It was a pearl. You can back up out of a fast race or back up off onto a wet track. It's just a ripper. So and he's got the DF. You got just that one angle. So love it.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy to be with her. I think she's a really good play at sort of $7 with Pavitra a real knock at 2,400. Just how slowly she came home relative to the race last start. And look, the Kiwi filly's definitely got a chance. She's probably the other horse that's definitely worth mentioning coming out of the New Zealand Oaks. She was dominant there at 2,400 metres. I will say the best New Zealand fillies have all left New Zealand by the time the Oaks was run. So the depth of it's a bit questionable, but you have to respect any New Zealand horse here who's coming off a 2,400 metre win and appreciates wet ground. So, but it's probably about its right price in the market. I was pretty keen, Arts. I thought she's a great play.
All right, there's our look at day 2 of the championships there with the Queen Elizabeth and the Oaks. So plenty happening up there in Sydney. We've also got a really good card of racing Good Friday here in Melbourne at Geelong. Last year we saw this meeting at Sale, but it's a bit like the All-Star Mile, DK. It just does the rounds. It's going to all the country tracks, I think. So we're at Geelong for the Discovery.
$500,000 race, isn't it, too?
Yeah, $500,000 for the sprinters. So we'll get the market up here and we'll have a quick look at this race because this is definitely of some interest. There will be some reductions here because Jigsaw and Verenskova both have the same jockey. And I think Alderson's kind of come out and said she might pull one of them out. So it could be some minor deductions. In the boat is our favourite with TopSport, $6, $6.50 Midwest. Verenskova has been 11 into $7.50 if she runs. Maybe that early market push suggests she will. $8 Ceredes, $8.50 Jigsaw. 8.50 in from 10, it's our time. 11 Generation, the Inferno 16, $19 current, $21 Bermudez, 26 Swatstat, and you can have longer the rest. No replays here. Who's your tip though, T-Dogs? I know you were sticking up for a horse big on the preview we did earlier. So what have you got for us?
Well, I think the key to this race is you see a few of those names. There's a lot of speed. Midwest, Jigsaw, In the Boat, Open Minded, Mr. Mosaic. If there's a lot of speed. So I think it gives a chance to something to run on. And he can be a bit of an enigma, this horse, but I think they might have him back, and that's the Inferno for Damien Lane here. Cliff Brown's flying, sort of his last 50. He took Little Miss QB to Adelaide last week for a raid of the listed Manahite Classic, got that done. This horse's jump outs I thought have been very good. I know he's a horse that's jumped out well in the past, Nico, but first up last preparation, he was, I thought, terrific in the McEwen Stakes behind Rothfire, ran the second quickest last 200 of the day. And then the preparation, for whatever reason, didn't go to plan. He had two pretty average runs. He's a horse that you've got to sort of trust, but you're getting a good price here about possibly the best horse in the race. Well, I'd say the best horse in the race. Like he's placed at Group 1 level, and you would say on his best, he's one of the better sprinters in Victoria. D-Lane booked, he would have had some options here, DK, you would have thought, to ride some good chances. He'd have to think this horse is going well. And just the speed here at Geelong, I know Geelong sometimes can play a little bit on speed, but there's so much speed in this race. I think this will really suit this horse. 1,100 metres first up. I think he's a great play at $18.
He's a bit of a go-to jock for Cliff Brown, Frosty, so he would have revved him up and said, I've got this horse going good. Do you want to be on this for this race? And also, just on Cliff Brown, like you said, he's flying last 50, but he's just, to me, he's a trainer you go looking for. You want to find him. It's like Dabenig, Simon Wild. You just want to find them, and when you do, it's that extra zip kick, so all good. I like one of Cliff Brown's, his gun trainer, and I like it, and it's got Frosty, stuff like that. So, can't argue there.
Interesting conditions for Friday's Discovery, because we've got races at Geelong with the possibility of 5 to 20 mils of rain and some winds sort of swirling throughout the day, upwards of 25-kilometre gusts. So could be very intriguing the way that track could play with that sort of rain predicted, and especially the wind. Interestingly enough, the favourite In the Boat is not very good on the wet ground. So that could make things very interesting if, come by this stage of the day, if they get the rain early in the card. What do you make of that, Trav, if they cop the rain for the favourite?
Yeah, I have to admit that's going to throw this race up in the air a lot, because there's a lot of horses here who are sort of near the top of the market who probably don't want it wet. My tip, probably the Inferno's a case of that. I don't think he definitely doesn't want it on the real softer side. So then you've sort of got to strip the race back and try and find something. I still think you want to look at something that's going to stalk the speed. There's just too much speed here for me to sort of think something up on top of the pace is going to keep kicking, especially with a lot of them are sort of suspect at the end of 1,100. So maybe a horse like Bermudez could be a sort of a cheeky play if it got, sort of wet. He's a very good horse fresh. I know 1,100 metres on the short side for him. But he's a very good wet tracker, and he's a good horse fresh. So, he'll be at least finding the line. I think it's a race you want to play around the sort of top chances there. It's a $500,000 handicap, and it sort of bets like that. You probably want to find horses a bit outside of the market in that race, I think.
All right, so a few angles there for the Discovery. Thanks, Trav, man. Hopefully a few winners across the weekend, and hopefully we can get a result.
Yeah, thanks, Nico.
Of course, if you want any more of Trav's analysis, head over to patreon.com/The Racing Show. It's had a bit of a new revamped service here. So $30 a month now. You can get involved, and you get tips for Sandown, Randwick, and Ascot from now on. So Perth is part of the tier as well. So previously just Victoria and New South Wales, but T-Dogs, he loves his Perth stuff, DK. So he's putting that out there. That's exclusive to Patreon, so nowhere else anymore.
Versatile, you bloke. Very, very. You can't knock your versatility. You're on Tassie. He's on Perth. The occasional ACT meeting.
You got to be doing everywhere, DK, to find the bets these days, because they're
few and far between.
When you're copping 20 mils at Geelong, you might have to look a bit wider. We might have to be looking at Launceston and see what's happening there. But
that's the beauty about Perth. I know people are betting Perth because it's generally dry tracks,
Yeah, so
You know?
Yep. So that's all added to Patreon. So if you want to get involved there, just $30 a month, and you can have a lot of information and analysis on those sort of races. All right, time to look at Queensland racing. We're pretty versatile on this show. We've been everywhere this show, but time to look at Don's best.
G'day, gents. Johnny's best for this weekend. Absolute cracking day of racing. Massive sport right around the country, and the US Masters is on as well, so there's plenty happening this weekend. My best bets come up in Noonan. The first is in race 4. It's called Applications. Last start, it was first up at 1,600 metres. They went way above tempo, the 800. It was very strong until about 100 metres and then folded up late. I think this start it can control the speed, will give a massive kick. It looks a great each way bet at around $5. So that's race 4 Applications. The next best is race 6, Chinny Boom, around $2.30. It just looks like the best horse in the race, probably the best horse on the card, this North Queenslander. It bounces, it should sit just behind the leaders and should have a really nice turn of foot to sprint away from it, mate. That's about $2.30. I also think Jabaya on up will be too strong for Animo in the Queen Elizabeth. Good luck, gents.
Donny, here we go. Finally, Donny and the DK line up. All right, we're on the team.
Could be a moral now.
Oh, 2 versus now. It's 2 all, Nico. 2 all.
We need
Walt. We need to find out what Walt was thinking.
We need to phone in Walt or Scoot to sort of.
I reckon Walt will be with me. He's always, Animo's short. Animo's very short.
Yeah, he's been an Animo hater from day one, hasn't he? So, yep, applications there for Team Thornton in race number 4, and then Chinny Boom in race 6. Applications already been sort of $5 into $3.90 for Damien Thornton DK. So relocated up there.
Yes, so I saw that. I was now you say it. I was wondering where he was, but his parents have moved up there, and his sister's up there, obviously with Ben Thompson and stuff. So he's headed up.
Yep. So I think he's headed up
just short term for a few months,
just before the carnival, get some momentum, and probably chase another Group 1 win. Damien, very capable jockey. So hopefully he can get the job done there for us with applications. Let's look at the TopSport Big Bets for the week, the TopSport Steam. They didn't have a lot of luck last week. Here we go. Pio Rossa, 500 at 11s. She's had a little bit of support there. She was the horse in the red flashing down the outside in the Knox, DK.
So then, they're generally the ones that backed early market, mate. If they're running on and they're a flashing light, guaranteed someone's going to play into the early market price.
We'll go over to race 7 at Randwick as well. A lot of action at the championships. 500 on King Frankel. So, he was given a good ride last up by Schiller in the tank, or now he steps up to 3,200 metres, which may be a slight risk, but good early bet there from TopSport to take the 500 at $8, and he definitely looks a chance. And then Cascadian, 400 at 13s.
Yeah, well, he's in form. Look, I thought he's entitled to win, even though he did get that run. Mellum took that run at the right time. It was run to suit for him. He's in the right spot for him. And then the other is Mellum riding this? Someone else?
I think he is.
Yeah. So Mellum's got the trick to him because he said, I think it was Davo or something that said, what would Mellum's ride? He should have just got out in the 3-wide train and then exposed him at the 400. And come on, and that's not the way to ride that horse. Mellum's shown. He's now a suck, ping horse.
Kid to him a little bit.
Kid to him. Keep him behind them and then let his turn of foot go. So Mellum's really worked him out. And again, if he gets that right suck run behind the good speed here, he's such an honest horse. He's going to be running on. So no surprise to see he's been money for him.
And then up in Queensland, DK might not know much about this horse. I tried to buy it and he was sale not too long ago with Dad, and he
did you?
He said no. Now it's gone up to Queensland. I think it's won 2 races. 250 at 13's Irish Songs. So
who had it before?
Kurt Goldman had it before.
Okay. Oh, right.
He's a bit of a number, old Irish Songs, but he's been going well for the new stable up there. I was trying to convince Dad to buy it and run it into Discovery, but we've obviously let one go there. But anyway.
I wonder what they paid. Do you know what they paid for it?
I can't remember. Once he sort of wasn't involved.
He dropped off, yeah.
We had 2 yesterday we were looking at, and we just got outbidded. So,
anything I'd know there?
We were on Nick Our Spur.
I saw someone got that.
And Sizzling Sonata were the two we'll
Sizzling Sonata.
look at, but just went for a bit more than what we thought. So
I don't know about Sizzling Sonata. Dabberting had to go with it, didn't he? And he couldn't get it to go. So, and he's a gun trainer. I'd rather buy him off bad trainers, or low percentage trainers, Yeah. But your dad only wants to pickle around with them. But Dabberting's had to go with that horse, and Paddy Payne. 2 of the best.
Well, we went we had our price and it went over. So
as they generally do in that, in the last 30 seconds or something too?
Yeah.
Doesn't all happen in the last minute with that stuff?
We were outbid. So tough game trying to buy a horse this time of the year, but with all the prize money in that, it's probably never been better, to be
You're
honest.
obviously in the market though. You're looking.
We're having a good look. Yep. Big weekend of sport coming up as well with Augusta and the US Masters. Golf Punters Club is available for the punters to get and have a look at. So Top Rope Tedeschi there, he's going to be steering the ship. So no doubt he'll definitely be finding some angles there. So I think if you want to get involved with that closes at 9 p.m. tonight. So for all the punters that want to put their 50 in or maybe a bit more for the punters club there and let Top Rope hold your hand and bet on some golf. I imagine it's one way to keep the sport interesting if you're watching the golf.
I love it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you can do, and you get plenty of good odds in that. They're all good odds, aren't they? I think his first bet was something 40s, wasn't it? 500 at 40s or something.
Yep.
Some guys. So something to cheer.
So make sure you get involved there. Head to littlebirdie.live and you'll find it all there. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Bet Doctor or Little Birdie, and then Apple and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube as well, littlebirdie.live, for all the upcoming events, including punters, clubs, and co. DK, we got through it.
Yes, we did, Nico. Well done for steering the ship. Thanks very much for that. It was all good.
Huge weekend of racing for you as well. I think it's one of the bigger weekends in Victoria from a country point of view. Gee, there's some races.
Well, it used to be all. I mean, especially when Oakbank was at its prime. You know, it used to be an awesome weekend.
Yeah.
Anyway, but still, Stall's a huge weekend up at Stall, and I think there's Kerrang and Warwick-Nabil and all those little meetings. So see if we can find something.
Something for sure. All right, punters, thanks for joining us here on Bet Doctor for the Champions Edition, Day 2. We'll be back next week with the All Age, and hopefully we're back to some sort of normality. Thanks for joining us, and I'll hopefully find a few winners this weekend. All thanks to TopSport and Punting Form, and don't forget to check out the Comics Lounge if you're in Melbourne as well, the sponsors here on Bet Doctor. Good luck, and have a fill up on the weekend.